Stars guide the way. Far out in the sparkling blue of the Polynesian islands, where the sky kisses the sea, lived a little girl named Mona. Her home was a small, verdant island, alive with the sound of crashing waves and rustling palm trees. The air always smelled of salt and plumeria blossoms, a sweet, calming perfume that drifted through the village. Mona loved her island, loved its warm sand between her toes and the stories whispered by the wind. But more than anything, Mona loved looking up at the night sky every night. After the sun dipped below the horizon in a blaze of glory, Mona would lie on her back on the beach. She would gaze up at the countless stars that peppered the inky blackness. They twinkled and danced, whispering secrets only she could hear. She knew their names from her grandmother, stories passed down through generations, legends of great voyagers who sailed the seas using only these celestial maps. She dreamed of one day sailing among those stars, exploring the vast ocean and discovering new lands. One day, a large voyaging canoe arrived at Mona's island. It was unlike anything she'd ever seen. The twin hulls were intricately carved with swirling patterns, and a tall mast reached towards the sky like a proud tree. Sailors, weathered and strong, with eyes that held the wisdom of the sea, hopped onto the beach. They were master navigators, renowned throughout Polynesia for their ability to read the stars and traverse the ocean's vastness. Mona watched them with wide, curious eyes, her heart filled with a mix of excitement and a little bit of shyness. As the days turned into nights, Mona would sit at the edge of the village, listening to the sailors share stories of their voyages. They spoke of faraway islands, strange and wonderful creatures, and the secrets hidden beneath the waves. Mona was captivated. She wanted to learn everything they knew, to understand the language of the stars and the rhythm of the sea. But she was too shy to approach them, afraid of interrupting their important discussions, so she remained at a distance, her curiosity growing with each passing day, like a vine reaching for the sun. One evening, as the navigators prepared their canoe for departure, Mona saw an old woman sitting alone, weaving a mat from palm leaves. She recognized her as one of the lead navigators, a woman named Nanatala. Summoning her courage, Mona approached her hesitantly. "Nanatala," she whispered, I admire your canoe very much." Nanatala looked up, her eyes twinkling like the stars Mona loved so much. She smiled warmly and beckoned Mona to sit beside her. Mona sat nervously next to Nanatala as the navigator explained that they were setting sail to find new islands and explore more of the ocean. Nanatala began to show Mona the special knots they used and how they weaved the ropes to be as strong as possible. As Nanatala spoke, Mona felt her shyness melt away. Nanatala was a wise woman, her voice calm and soothing like the gentle lapping of waves on the shore. It was Nanatala who helped Mona to understand what stars were most important and why. Mona felt hopeful and wanted to ask so much more, but struggled with the thought. The following night, under the soft glow of the moon, Nanatala invited Mona to join her on the beach. She pointed to the sky, identifying constellations and explaining their significance. "See that cluster of stars, Mona," she said, her voice gentle. "That is Hokulea, the star of gladness. It guides us south." Nanatala showed Mona how to find other stars, using them as markers to determine direction and location. She explained that the stars were not just points of light, but ancient guides, whispering wisdom to those who knew how to listen. As Nanatala shared her knowledge, Mona felt a spark ignite within her. She realized that navigation was not just about knowing the stars, but about understanding the interconnectedness of all things: the wind, the waves, the currents, and the creatures of the sea. It was about respecting the ocean and listening to its rhythms. But trying to memorize every star and pattern, Mona's mind grew foggy, and she started to get frustrated. She felt like she couldn't understand anything, and maybe she just wasn't cut out for sailing like the others. Noticing Mona's frustration, Nanatala smiled knowingly. "Navigation is not about memorizing," she said softly. "It is about feeling. Close your eyes, Mona, and feel the ocean breeze on your skin. Listen to the waves crashing on the shore. Can you feel the heartbeat of the ocean?" Mona closed her eyes and took a deep breath. She focused on the sensations around her: the cool air, the salty scent, the rhythmic sound of the waves. Slowly, she began to feel a sense of connection to the ocean, a sense of belonging. Nanatala then explained that the most important tool a navigator has is their own intuition, their ability to trust their instincts and connect with the natural world. She told Mona that true navigation comes from within, from a deep understanding of oneself and one's place in the universe. Suddenly, Mona realized she had been approaching the stars like a problem. Instead, maybe it was about feeling, about the wisdom passed down by her grandmother. It wasn't about being wrong or right, but about what she could learn as she went. The next morning, as the voyaging canoe prepared to depart, Nanatala turned to Mona. "Would you like to join us, Mona?" she asked. Mona's eyes widened in surprise. But I don't know enough," she stammered. Nanatala smiled. "You know more than you think," she said. "And the best way to learn is by doing." With a deep breath, Mona nodded. "Yes," she said, her voice filled with newfound confidence. "I would like to join you." As Mona stepped onto the canoe, she felt a surge of excitement mixed with a touch of nervousness. The other navigators welcomed her warmly, their faces etched with smiles. Nanatala placed a hand on her shoulder. "Remember, Mona," she said, "the stars are our guides, but your heart is your compass." The canoe set sail, gliding smoothly through the turquoise water. Mona stood at the bow, her eyes fixed on the horizon, her heart filled with anticipation. Days turned into nights as the canoe sailed further and further away from Mona's island. She learned to identify different constellations, to read the patterns of the waves, and to feel the subtle shifts in the wind. She helped the navigators adjust the sails, steer the canoe, and prepare meals. She listened to their stories and asked questions, absorbing their knowledge like a sponge. There were times when Mona felt lost or confused, when the stars seemed to blur together and the ocean seemed vast and overwhelming. But each time, she remembered Nanatala's words, "Trust your heart." She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and focused on her intuition. She allowed herself to feel the ocean's energy, to connect with the stars on a deeper level, and slowly, clarity would emerge, guiding her back to the right path. One particularly cloudy night, the stars were hidden. Mona felt unsure if she would be able to help. The navigators, however, kept encouraging her to look for the small spaces in the sky where the stars might peek through. Finally, after many weeks at sea, Mona spotted a new island on the horizon. It was a lush, green paradise, teeming with life. The navigators cheered with joy, grateful for Mona's help in guiding them to their destination. As they approached the island, Mona felt a sense of accomplishment wash over her. She had faced her fears, embraced her curiosity, and learned to navigate not only by the stars, but by her own inner compass. Back on her home island, snuggled in her bed of woven mats, Moana smiled as she remembered her voyage. The memory of the starry nights, the vast ocean, and the wisdom of the navigators filled her with a sense of peace and gratitude. She knew that the journey had changed her, that she was no longer the shy, hesitant girl who had dreamed of sailing the seas. She was now a confident, capable voyager, ready to explore the world and embrace all its wonders. As her eyes grew heavy and sleep began to claim her, Moana whispered a silent thank you to the stars, her faithful guides, and drifted off into a peaceful slumber, dreaming of new adventures beneath the shimmering constellations.